games.
Nongshim might be a little bit...
Do you want to know the scoreline?
Might be a little bit dual win.
It's 22-0 in matches.
Oh my god, if they win, they can say nobody beats Nongshim 23 times in a row.
You could say that. I will allow it. They could also, like, really increase their game wins, even if they take one game. You know?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty impressive. But we'll go away. We'll leave that to the statisticians, as we do see Ezreal and Varus taken away here by Nongshim, and the Rumble is going to be denied to Kingen. I think Rumble should be a permaban against both of these top laners. Absolutely. And that will, of course, be the case. Okay, Gen.G have also chosen second pick. So it is just regular blue side, which is very, very fun.
Yep, so some of the picks that are still available that are pretty high prio, Pantheon, Jarvan, a little bit of Bard maybe, and Orianna, I think, are the four that could maybe see bans here. And what will be left open is the question.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued as to what this final ban for Nongshim is going to be. I think it might show us what they want to head towards as far as the first pick. And the Pantheon will be taken off the board. I think an Orianna ban would be a good idea. Maybe Canyon's going to be reminding Chovy that that would be a good takeaway.
Yeah, it could be an Orianna ban, and then maybe the Jarvan prio is there for Nongshim, and they end up picking that up. Obviously, a pick that there's a lot of power, a lot of gank ability, but also just if you're playing into an immobile carries, a lot of threat. And Ezreal being banned, I think, is a pretty big positive if you are leaning toward that.
So, first pick, Azir.
Okay, I mean, a bit of a classic for Scout, so...
Yeah?
But into the priority towards the mid lane.
We did see Faker have a really good late game on the champion, but he did get solo killed multiple times by Daystar's Akali. And Chovy very recently pulled out the Akali. See whether he is going to head that direction once again. Obviously, you could just take Jarvan now or Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao Lulu would be a decent rotation. Bard is up and available. They're going to lock that one in. Oh no, it's Jhin Bard, isn't it?
Maybe later.
It's Jarvan first.
Jarvan Bard for now. Obviously, Azir pretty decent at dealing with Jarvan in terms of being able to stay safe at a distance and you have your mobility. But Bard as well does provide a lot of threat. And I think you definitely want a more mobile AD carry. Obviously, you're gated by your ult on Yunara to really get the mobility, but still has the chance to dash out of the Cataclysm or the Tempered Fate. Nautilus coming in. I'm not a huge fan of Nautilus into Jarvan. I know we had that Spider-Man situation from Duro a while back, but usually I think the terrain makes things a little bit difficult, and it is just going to be played into Jhin Bard. That being said, Bard has a massive hitbox, so
that's true.
All that hair is very fluffy.
He is a bit fluffy.
And you're just able to... I mean, the hitbox on Nautilus' dredge line plus the hitbox on Bard is a pretty dangerous combination. So we'll have some threat in the all-in.
I do think it's strange that Gen.G decided not to counterpick the Azir. I do understand locking in your bottom lane. It's a lot of power. And getting the Jarvan is obviously a huge deal. Definitely the highest priority, especially given the fact that you now get to do a couple of extra bans. But I imagine an Akali ban is going to come on through here, and then anything else that Scout doesn't want to play into.
Yeah, I wonder how much you're going to focus on like specific counters, because there's obviously LeBlanc, which they are going to ban. There's LeBlanc, there's Akali, there's Yone. Those are like the big counters to Azir. And with them banning LeBlanc, we expect the Akali to be the second ban, so it seems like they are going full in on limiting the counters available for Chovy there. Whereas on the other side, Gen.G just banning away some more jungle picks. The Poppy, something that can do a lot of work at shutting down not only the Jarvan, but also the Bard. If you're going to go for the magical journey, he just gets smashed into the wall and have a bad time.
Not to mention the fact that if they want to play Akali, banning Poppy is a really good idea. And so now... hopefully, Nongshim do just ban the Akali. We are ticking down the timer. And 1, 2, 3, it's Aurora instead.
Oh, I mean, Chovy's great in Aurora. And it's definitely a pick that you're going to have a bit more prior than Akali would. But I feel like the Akali is a looming threat. We'll see if they go towards it. You know, maybe they don't.
I do think that it's a bit of a no-brainer here. And then you give counterpick over to Kiin.
Yeah.
A little bit of a scary situation here for Nongshim, but Chovy might not opt into it. Apparently, he's been playing way too much Anivia. As the Annie is going to be the choice instead.
I mean, not specifically accounted to Azir, but good at shutting down a Yunara, especially one who doesn't have the protection we often see with the Lulu. There's a lot of threats already.
I've got it.
Carry.
I know what this is. So they're protecting against the blind Gnar, because then you get to flex Annie top lane as Looper Tortoise in the LPL in 2015.
There you go.
Perfect counterpick. Well, actually, no, it was... yeah, he lost on it twice, but that's fine. Jayce is going to be the lock-in here.
So do we get Yorick or do we get a tank, is the question.
Yorick or Sion? I would hate Sion here. I feel like Gen.G would then have 0 damage.
Yeah.
I think Yorick would be fine.
Makes more sense.
Sion would be exactly what Gen.G would pick in this scenario, and I dislike it immensely.
It feels like a very low damage composition, as you were saying. You know, it's very bursty, very front-loaded, but the DPS is just kind of lacking. You know, Annie drops a rotation, and then he's kind of waiting for cooldowns, and Jhin, you know, he's trying to catch his bullets, he's struggling to reload. There's no, mega tank on the side of Nongshim, no tank really, other than, the Nautilus is still going to be very squishy for a support. But it just feels like if you put all your damage into one target, there is multiple threats on this Nongshim composition that can still be a problem. So I think Gen.G, hoping to get ahead in this game. I think if you fall behind, that's when you're going to feel the lack of damage. That's when it's going to be more relevant. If you're ahead, then it doesn't really matter. Even a Sion will do enough damage if the team is ahead as a whole.
Yeah, it's a very good point. But there is an Azir that scales beautifully. The Yunara, very similar story. I think as this game goes on, Nongshim are going to be happier and happier with how this composition looks. So I think Gen.G, like you say, a little bit of a timer is going to be there. But we have complained about Gen.G drafts that look like this so many times. It's like half of our career these days. And, you know, they went 29-0. You know, Gen.G have had a pretty good time in the past, even though they do draft like this. Let's get into the rift, see what happens in game number 1. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on the rift for the first game of our final series of the week. Already, Nongshim out and about trying to get information, and we'll be able to find Chovy there, spotting out Kingen here with this Raptor ward as well. And Ruler and Duro understanding that they have a little bit of leeway to get into this bottom lane. Taeyoon and Lehends a little bit slower on the approach. And I expect that this lane, Aux, and this is going to be an outrageous statement,
hit me with it,
should be in favor of the Jhin Bard. What do you think?
That's a insightful assertion.
Thank you.
Something I will say is that Lehends has gone Ignite.
Oh, that is pretty cool. He's going to immediately use it as Ruler taken down to about 50%. Taeyoon with the barrier is going to be there. They attempted the level 1 all-in. Doesn't quite work, although they do win the health trade.
Yeah, and the Ignite as well comes in early, which means the healing from the heal is reduced.
Yeah.
They're still looking for more. That Bard hitbox working against Duro there.
And it's a little bit of a battle for Ruler's friendship here as well.
That was close.
As, of course, Lehends used to be his lane partner on this very Gen.G. But now it is Duro. Replaced him with a younger model. As it turns out, sometimes it happens. As Scout clears out the wave, Chovy pretty happy with where the CS is at the moment. As Kingen is pretending that Gen.G are on the blue side. Wait, are we diving level 3?
It's risky. I think his Raptors got stolen, so he saw a window to match in terms of jungle camps. I don't think they'll go for a dive. I think they're too healthy right now.
So just more of a gank of the jungle rather than an actual gank of the bottom lane, which is indeed what is happening. Just going to head towards his Grump and continue his business.
Yeah, I think especially into a Nocturne. Obviously, Jarvan has more ganking power early, which is great if you can find them, find the angles, pull it off. But if he starts outpacing you in the jungle and gets to level 6 early, definitely not good. So Sponge obviously went for that Raptor steal, and Kingen just try to find an angle to answer it and keep things as even as possible.
Well, Ruler reloading for a few moments, but will avoid the Slurkle quite comfortably and heads over and drinks some cocoa. Kingen now going to be grabbing himself Crab here And so it's all sort of business as usual at the moment. Jarvan is on a pretty good win streak at the moment. Big spread of players as well that have been playing this one. All of them on the upper side of our LCK bracket. As Chovy just harassing Scout out here. Yanni is having a pretty good time. Molten Shield usage fantastic there to avoid any sort of return damage. And so yeah, this is kind of what we were hoping from Gen.G for them to be able to do here in this early game, given the fact that Nongshim's composition should be feeling better and better as the game goes on, despite the lack of tank. Obviously, Kiin is still just going to be the only one getting tankier and tankier in this game, but I think with the incredible amount of damage that Nongshim will have available to themselves, things like Baron and stuff like that later on in the game should be something that they'll be much more capable of locking down, and especially being able to rush down without much of an opportunity for Gen.G to do anything about it. Is Canyon just placing flags places?
Yeah, Duro's here to back him up, though.
Yeah, we'll be able to make it over. Magical Journey, and that's a flash out from Sponge. No wanting to risk it, as did, of course, have the spell shield, but there are a lot of things that can really be worrying here. As Kingen, very low on mana, but Keen's very low on health.
Yeah, it gets a bit of a chunk there, and obviously has the shield when needed if available, so he doing okay in this matchup. I think in that situation, if Sponge held the flash, you could see so many scenarios where he just ends up having to flash anyway and probably still dies.
Yeah.
The Annie TPing in, I think, was the real killer that sort of ensured, oh yeah, you have to flash out here. Coming in with that stun ready.
Yeah, Lehends spotted on a ward. Will spot the ward himself, though, as he clears that one out to help Sponge remain anonymous on this map.
Well, this early game has just been fighting over the Raptor camps, so...
Raptor camps are very important. Just talk to Raptor, who is making his way home from the Inspire Arena right now.
Yep. There's so far not a ton of action, and honestly, the bot lane of Taeyoon and Lehends holding up pretty well. We saw that early trade for them. Sums are back up and available now, but doing good in terms of the farm department. So the pressure not really able to be leveraged here by Ruler and Duro. I think a factor is, you know, as much as you might have to harass and poke, you have to be so wary of this Nautilus.
Yeah.
Overstep at the wrong time is just death.
Oh, there's a bear.
Ah, yes, the classic level 6 Annie trade.
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating.
Chovy did save Tibbers, though. Backed it off.
Yeah, he is the best at making sure that Tibbers stays alive. As Ruler, oh dear, Lehends separated from Taeyoon here, does have to flash. As Canyon does not pull the trigger on the drag part of the flag and drag. Does, of course, flag, as we can see there.
You know, I'm not 100% certain he had to flash in that situation. He was very close to tower, and he had barrier still. And Lehends was about to be there with CC. You know, I guess in the moment, you just kind of use it defensively, and Kingen...
Chovy and a big bear are just going to kill Kingen.
Yeah, he's just gone. So nice gang setup from Chovy, good move over. But yeah, I think Taeyoon, I mean, the flash was very preventative, but I think maybe could have saved it. Chovy there, though...
Did not miss a beat, just kept skipping.
And definitely did need to use it, because if that fear comes through, you are just gonzo. So... does end up getting punished.
Hold up.
The red buff aggro from the Nocturne Q ends up stopping his recall. Yeah, and Canyon's going to use this time to get Crab and the Dragon.
There we go, doing double duty there. Deadly Flourish connects on to Lehends, but he's not too worried. How did that dredge line miss? It was point blank. There's now Taeyoon without flash having to contend with a Canyon that's moving on down. He is very, very dead. He wants to kill Lehends, though, as Taeyoon just walk in the wrong direction. Ruler carrying a fair bit of the damage potential with him, though, so that will leave Lehends alive. And look at this. Nautilus Go avoids every bullet as he's just in the head of Ruler. You know, he knew. So much time they spent together. Not going to be able to outplay him, as that's a good stun to deny Scout his engage, but he will not be denied. He's just going to flash, and that is going to allow Sponge to pick up the kill onto the Annie. Nongshim are on the board.
Punishing that lack of flash from earlier when Sponge was able to pick it up, so I think a good first Nocturne gank with the ultimate. But we did see in the bot lane things going pretty heavily in favor of Gen.G. Top lane, I mean, this was just really simple, really straightforward. A walk up by the Annie. The Sounds had a follow-up. This play, though, going over aggressive when your Nocturne's on the top side has its risks. And Lehends try to force a play. I do think what's funny is the aftermath when Ruler ults. It's almost like his old teammate. You know, he's pointing the gun at him, but he won't look.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't make me do it.
Don't make me do it. Well, he didn't do it. As it turns out, we're not even going to watch that one again, as we have a look here in this mid lane. Just a paranoia. And it was a decent attempt to survive there from Chovy, but Scout still had the flash and didn't actually press the ultimate button when he did make his way in. We're having a look at what had happened towards this bottom side, and it looks like the result is not a whole lot.
There's a lot of setup coming in, though, from Duro. You saw him walking together with Chovy to get this vision established. And I feel like when you have a mid laner like Annie, and Chovy's been finding windows where you can move, and you have like vision dominance on the bot side of the map, it just makes it so hard to play. Whenever Chovy goes missing, you're immediately thinking, is he coming down here? Am I going to have a bear dropped on my head?
Yeah, where are the drop bears? It's something that us Australians are well and truly acquainted with.
Well, you see, it's the bottom of the map, which is also where it'd be on the world map.
Yep, see? It's perfect. Makes entire sense.
Even the bottom right of the map, which is perfect.
Yeah. I don't know why it's orientated that way. You know, theoretically, the world map can be orientated anyway. Why is it that Australia is bottom right?
Well, I assume in Australia,
well, I assume that Scout might have a little bit trouble surviving. He does manage to get the Emperor's Divide off as Kingen has to flash to get himself out of the way. Tempered Fate to try and keep him alive as Lehends just sort of by himself getting on in here. There's the paranoia to lock down the kill onto the Jarvan. Tibbers will be taken out as well as Sponge used all of the mana that he had available in order to get the damage down and get on out of there as Taeyoon just with some spare time down in this bottom lane, trying to make up that deficit.
Yeah, this is a great trade, honestly, for Nongshim. The fact that Taeyoon wasn't even there, he just gets to farm up in the bot lane and pick up a plate even. So managing to bridge that gap a little bit in terms of gold, and it's a kill trade. So fine for Nongshim. They're also going to be able to get the grubs on the back of that. Keeping this game pretty even so far.
Certainly keeping it interesting. Some grubs going on over as we check out this replay one more time. So Chovy just walked at it.
Scout just survives a little bit too long. Manages to get the ult off. Then the tether fear comes in onto Kingen, and even though he doesn't die because of the stasis, doesn't survive much longer, and Sponge is able to disengage. This is kind of another example of what we're talking about with Gen.G's composition. Very front-loaded, burst-focused, and Sponge went in there and they just couldn't finish him off.
Yeah, just didn't do enough. And I think the Merc Tread's certainly a very good purchase at this point, but will not be helping into Ruler. We'll see whether Ruler can get some acceleration down. Speaking of acceleration, here comes the train towards the top side. Kiin will just be parking it up there. And Kingen, speaking of damage, he does at least have item number 1. That will help the Jarvan burst just a little. But Sponge also with his, another bear from the sky.
Yeah. Good trade back though, in fairness.
Oh, save Tibbers. Save Tibbers, Chovy. Save Tibbers. He wanted to deny the gold. That's what he was focused on.
Yep, the tower kill it.
Still sad though.
Yeah. Dragon up at about a minute 40. Feels like the next big point to play for. Right now, both teams really playing heavily around the vision in this area.
Ooh, nice
stun from Duro, but won't really amount to much.
Yeah, Ruler gets a bit of a follow-up, and you can barely notice it. As it's a Jhin with not exactly very many items completed just yet. Looks like he's foregoing the Ghostblade this time around, so a little bit more of a high damage build, you could say, as Kiin not really going to be enjoying that trade in the game.
Kind of seeing this Ghostblade Rapid Fire Stormrazor build, which we have certain feelings on. But you can also just go Stormrazor, Rapid Fire, and then go into your IE or LDR, depending on the game. And I think get your spikes online a lot sooner.
Looks like that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Cute little slingshot now done, as well as a cloak. And we'll be building that first item pretty soon. A little bit sad that he wasn't quite able to get that. It's a lot of components that he has sitting in his pocket.
There's not many people who have their first items. Kingen gets his Serpent's Fang, which you've seen a lot of Jayce's build into Sion. Obviously, he shields all the time, so you get value there. But not the highest value first item for like team fights as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, there is some shielding on the rest of the champions, to be fair, Jarvan and Annie. So not zero value. And the stat line for the lethality item of Serpent's Fang is pretty fine. But there's a lot of people who don't have the first item completed. Ruler was one we're talking about, doesn't have his done. Taeyoon does have that Kraken Slayer, and then neither mid laners yet. So
Kiin just put his together, so he's at least able to answer what Kingen has purchased. And now he's walking down to the dragon. And this is what Gen.G have done in the past as well. They sack a lot of Kiin's lane control in order to make sure that they can get objectives. As Scout, right on the edge of the queue, has to flash. As the train comes on through, not sure about that one from Sponge, who is immediately having to get himself out of there. Kiin running amok in this fight as Ruler pulls the curtains. There's the Tempered Fate, as now, let's see whether Taeyoon is actually going to go down, and the bullet will land. The fourth shot connects onto Lehends this time as Canyon gets a decent knock-up, and Kingen tried to escape, but the flash from Ruler gets him the kill. And now Scout, I think he's ran out of buttons, although the Q doesn't connect from Kiin. And the Meep slap comes on through. Really nice sidestep there from Scout to try and keep himself alive as Ruler is well and truly underneath the enemy turret. And Scout will live! And down will go Kiin as well. Ruler almost punished, and in fact he is! And I think that was the Umbral Blades that was able to pick up the kill in the end. Finally the Nocturne dies, but that could have been way, way worse for Nongshim.
I think Ruler not having that extra little bit of damage, you know, he ends up finishing the Stormraiser now, but that could have been the difference maker to that just being a massively winning play for Gen.G. Still advantageous. Scout's already chunked, and then this connects on him. Flash burn, and we see Sponge go in, but it's just hard for him to stick in the fight. And remember, this isn't a Nocturne Lulu that we've seen before. You don't have the wild growth to buy you time immediately. We then get the Jhin shot. This one comes in and just through two members of Nongshim, connects on Taeyoon, takes him out.
Scout was getting so much DPS in this fight, though. You can see that's the reason why Chovy's health bar is so incredibly low, and how this managed to be so much closer for Nongshim in the end.
This was, well, they just went a little bit too far.
Yeah, it was an odd maneuver. Ruler has that fourth shot, but he just gets afraid. And actually, no, it was a Dustbringer that kills him.
Sponge a little bit upset he couldn't get more there, with Chovy being so low on HP. It's a lead for Gen.G still, 2 Dragons in pocket, and it's a Cloud Soul.
Yeah.
Pretty high value, but definitely a bit of an overstep on the back end of that fight.
I would agree. Still, they need to have, you know, their foot on the gas to try and bring the tempo of this game as high as possible. But I mean, the gold advantage that they have is like 100. It's basically nothing. They're going to see whether they can kill Kingen, and in fact, they can. You mentioned the front-loaded burst. Sometimes that equals the health bar of their target.
Yeah, I mean, Intra Jayce, especially when it's the only target you need to kill, it works. And the magical journey into the Annie point-to-click CC, I find it funny that like Chovy rocket belted in as well.
Yeah.
He just, like, he didn't
The playability of this is low.
Yeah, just really guaranteeing that there's nothing King can do in that situation. Gets stunned, then stunned again into the wall, and just dies for it.
Well, Scout is at least going to be able to grab this turret towards the bottom side of the map, or at least get very, very close to it, as Tib is on 20 health there on the top side of the map. Chovy, come on. You got to, you know, treat him carefully. As finally, another minion wave does come in. There's the Paranoia on to this Annie, as well as Sponge. I think should be able to just kill him, and he does. That's a solo, as Lehends is now here to back him up as well. It is going to be a 2v2, but Canyon looks like he doesn't want it, as the magical journey will bring them on out of there. As the empowered recall from the Herald is going to get Duro out. And that might mean that Canyon has to give up his red buff as well.
With how that last big fight went, the overstep from Gen.G has just put so much gold on a Sponge. He's 5-1. He has all of Nongshim's skills.
Every single one.
And the thing is with the Fed Nocturne is often we see, you know, Nocturnes aren't necessarily super far ahead, and they'll be great at diving on targets as initiation, but they need backup. They need follow-up. They need someone else. At this point, we saw what Sponge did to Chovy. He's strong enough, you can just dive at him 100 to 0.
He's actually just a torpedo at this point in time, and it's very, very scary. As you can see here, it's going to be on Sponge to get control of this game and allow Taeyoon and Scout the space to carry things later on. I do want to say that team fight around the Dragon that went a little bit weird with Scout being able to sort of kite them underneath their turret. Taeyoon dashed into 4 people on the Yunara before he got tempered fated and died. So I'd like to see a little bit perhaps of more reserved play from him.
That's fair.
And then maybe things could get a little bit even better for Nongshim.
Yeah. Hopefully for
Fingers crossed.
Nongshim's sake. They are heading gold right now and setting up this Dragon in a minute. We do see a lot of Gen.G up to the top side of the map, maybe fishing for a pick, but no one's showing there yet. You can see Kingen not wanting to overexpose himself. It's just kind of hanging around in the jungle, does spot Canyon, so he knows it's a bad time if he goes up to that tower.
Yeah, Canyon will be able to take away the enemy Grump.
The question
like
is,
you were saying, just playing patiently here is this Jayce. There's a paranoia into the mid lane as the flash out from Ruler is trying to keep him alive, but it does not work. Sponge, as we mentioned before, torpedo.
I mean, I was just going to say, where is the counterpunch from Nongshim? You know that they're leading towards the top side of the map. What is the play you go for elsewhere to make up for that? And you know what? I think that was a pretty good play. Just go straight for Rule in the mid lane. You get his flash as well. Unfortunately, you don't get the mid lane tower, but you do take him off the map. Now, the only problem with that play is that Ruler is going to be back up around when Dragon spawns. Yeah,
he won't be able to get there quite on time because they are, you know, coming up at the same time, not in the same place. But the Rift Herald is going to be here. It's also Gen.G should still be able to wrestle some control.
It's also a Jhin. Jhin can join fights pretty late and be effective compared to other AD carries. So Kiin is going to be on the forefront to try and push their way in.
He stood into 4 people and just not a whole lot happened to him. Finally, the train is going to come on out. Good buffer there from Lehends to deny the engage from Kiin, but also get himself out of there as Canyon flag and dragged in. Didn't opt for the Cataclysm, and now Paranoia is back off cooldown. Sponge, deadly once again, as Canyon's wrapping around, wanting to get a flank angle off. Will get spotted, as there's a dredge line. The bear is going to be the answer, as Tempered Fate is going to connect on top of the Jayce. As Sponge goes in, Emperor's Divide from Scout is gigantic, but no one actually dies. Cataclysm will get his flash immediately, and the curtains have been called from a very low health Jhin on the other side of the map, but he's still safe enough and actually gets the deadly flourish kill onto Taeyoon. Kingen now, I don't think is going to be enough as the 4th shot's the charm, and down goes the Jayce. And Gen.G, sometimes they just make magic like this.
And Scout might still be in trouble.
He has been the man able to escape a lot of today. Yeah, but unfortunately, the rest of his teammates not quite the same.
I think ultimately Sponge just not able to have enough backline threat here. So we see the fight starting out with a lot of focus on Lehends on the front line. He kind of just gets obliterated. We see Sponge diving in, and Scout's there to follow, but they don't manage to finish off the Jhin. And Jhin, more than any other AD carry, can just walk away, ult, and still contribute like he would if he was full HP. And Ruler also gets this great route here that secures the kill. So with still 5 members up of Gen.G, it ends up just going from bad to worse for Nongshim here.
Yeah. And when that curtain call came out, I kind of thought that maybe there was an angle for Kingen to just throw a shock blast at him and kill him.
Yeah.
But he was out of vision, and it was just a pretty ambitious place to go for it, and it absolutely paid off for Ruler. Now, building towards item number 3, already having his rapid fire cannon done as well as his Stormrazor. And this is turning into a pretty difficult game for Nongshim, despite the fact that Sponge was so incredibly fed. I mean, there is a lot of positives here for Nongshim in their composition. Haven't been quite able to make it work. As okay, here goes the torpedo once again, and out it will go. It's more of just a knock on the door and then a run away.
I mean, they get the tower, but Gen.G are there to respond, to protect their AD carry this time, and it means that it's just an ult burn by Sponge, not really achieving that much on the back of it. Now they're looking for Chovy. He knows there's no Nocturne ult to punish him.
Yeah, Duro is here though. There's the knock-up onto Lehends, who has to flash into the Baron Pit. There's a curtain call one more time, as Lehends is trying to escape, and he just takes 3 bullets and dies. Down he will go. Kiin is going to park the train just to deny any sort of follow-up from Nongshim. And Gen.G now with full control of the Baron area. I don't know whether they're going to go for that, because they have, as we mentioned before, have a pretty slow Baron.
They're looking at Taeyoon mid instead. Oh, they found Sponge.
Oh no, does spell shield a bit of it, but unfortunately there are a few too many buttons, and slowly but surely they are just going to try and kill him. Duro goes in, meat flap for the kill. Feels good.
So I wonder if that was intentional by Canyon, but it looked like the Cataclysm, because it was against the wall, made it like too big to flash over. I'm wondering if he did that, so Sponge had flash and he just ulted him, but it looked like maybe he made the distance a bit too long, because he waited until the Cataclysm cleared before flashing.
Maybe he was just a little bit too frightened of missing it.
I mean, that's the thing. If you miss it, then you're definitely cooked. But he was cooked regardless.
And the biggest problem is then Duro immediately follows you. Duro's sitting at 1-0-12, by the way, on this Bard.
Yeah, we saw the priority on the Bard from Gen.G, and it's obviously paying off here. This is when they try to go for the collapse onto Chovy, but all of Gen.G is there to respond, to defend. And the Jhin ult again, proving very useful.
Getting the flash out of Kingen with that Tempered Fate as well. Didn't even notice that the first time around, so even better for Gen.G.
So Dragon in 2 minutes, Baron is up beyond that time. So Gen.G, who've been doing a pretty good job of setting up their side waves, can look to use his Baron pressure to kind of secure Dragon very easily. If you're pushing up in the lanes, if you're sieging and just choking Nongshim out of the map, it's hard for them to contest the Dragon. One thing I will say, though, is there is that threat of the Nocturne constantly. So, you know, talking about pushing up, trying to trap Nongshim on their side of the map, you always have to be cautious that Sponge could just jump.
Like this, for example. Okay, the bear is just going to kill Scout, though, who does set up a wall to stop Sponge from also dying, but that was not the paranoia that Gen.G were worried about. That looks like paranoia on the other side.
It feels like...
Kingen able to avoid that one, but not the knock-up from Kiin. As, the Cosmic Binding from downtown. Absolutely gorgeous. Canyon, with the help of the passive, going to be able to take down this Jayce. And now Gen.G should be able to push and grab 2 inner turrets at the same time. Unless Taeyoon can defend. Does at least manage to deal with the wave. So it should just be only 1 inner turret for now. 30 seconds on this Dragon. That'll be Cloud Soul available for Gen.G. They'll be booking it around this map, able to kind of get whatever the heck they want. That is Infinity Edge done. Ruler is sitting on the perfect 3 items. And yeah, it's all coming up Gen.G.
for Chovy as well. Yeah, I feel like what Gen.G have done so well this game is shadowing their laners. So like there, Kiin was playing for the top lane, but Chovy was behind him. So when Nocturne goes in, the turnaround is available. There's been so many times this game, I feel like, where a member of Gen.G looks exposed. And we saw the earlier play, it was Chovy who looked overextended, but the rest of Gen.G were there to back him up. It's like they're leaving that player as bait and immediately punishing. Now as we go back to live, Lehends is dead.
Lehends was he was the bait.
Yeah, he did get a ward onto the Dragon Pit, but it is gone. So with that, they do have blue trinkets. They could blue trinket, Nocturnal, and try and steal, but Sponge is dead if they go for this. So we'll see if they even opt to try.
Scout's already Emperor's Divided as well.
Oh, they're going.
And in he goes. He kills it! Okay! Some bounty money comes through, and you can see Canyon. He respects it. Obviously, the Nocturne is extraordinarily dead. Ruler going to be able to grab that one. And the steal does save them from Cloud Soul.
And Canyon flashes the toast emoji. I'm not sure what I mean, but I love it. Yeah, so it's a great steal from Sponge, and they do a decent job of clearing up the waves. With the Baron gone now, this tier 2 might not be long for the world, but I think denying the soul is a win enough itself. Does it drastically change the state of the game? No, but it's one less thing working against you right now, which is so important with how rough this game has been for Nongshim.
Yeah, and there is sort of light at the end of the tunnel, right? If we were talking about that that whole scaling thing that we were going with. Problem is that like Scout has got like, you know, the cheapest first 2 items you can get in a stick, and he's staring down a dash cannon with Rabadon's already completed. So, man, that was right on the edge, that steal.
I think Canyon panicked a little bit and got an early smite. It was super close, though. But yeah, the coordination was there with the blue trinket into ult. Knew he would die for this, but figured it was worth the chance to steal it and got the reward of getting it. Taeyoon responds to the Tempered Fate.
It is, you know, Sponge sacrificing his life to deny the Cloud Soul, right? It's not like Nongshim are getting what Gen.G would have got.
Yeah.
Like, just getting the one Drake is not really all that valuable.
It's delaying the bad news, but you're going to have to keep doing that again and again throughout this game.
Paranoia is on a lower cooldown than Dragon. So,
that's true.
Theoretically, he can just do it over and over again. Canyon, he's got his GA completed. Sponge still on the way to getting his, but he is relatively close. And we were talking before about the fact that Sponge was like 5-1. Well, now he's 5-4. And we haven't spoken about Kingen, who has had a very sad time on this, Jayce.
I mean, he's definitely been punished, but he's so far behind compared to Kiin. Kiin is just, in terms of gold, he's not that far behind, but in terms of value in the game,
oh yeah,
he is just not even close. Like, you have this 3IM Mega Sion, who's an absolute beefcake, and then Kingen, I just feel like, you know, a bit of a strong breeze would hit him, and he would just flop over.
Yeah. It's just playing paintball.
I think so often we see the Jayce into Sion, and it's like the expectation, the hope is that you go ahead in lane, you're ahead of the curve, but Sion outvalues you despite having less gold.
Oh, Taeyoon, oh, the cosmic binding, just gorgeous. And Chovy is just going to make sure that he's dead. The train is going to come on through as well to try and deny Sponge. Tempered Fate comes on down, but Sponge was able to spell shield the knock up from Kiin, so that does not land. Still without Taeyoon, there is not a hope for Nongshim to stop this Baron, even if Gen.G do have a slightly lower damage composition. Right now, they have plenty.
Yep, and they burn Paranoia, so Sponge won't have the ability to just swoop in and steal this time. No chances of that. This was a pretty great play from Duro. You can see setting up this position. Oh, but
flashes over the circle!
Gorgeous. And just deleted so quickly. A lot of threats. The Yunara also had tools, I guess, to avoid that. You know, flash and ult, potentially, but just didn't respond in time. Kind of caught off guard there. And Gen.G, this feels more like the Gen.G we typically expect to see.
Yeah, this is the regular season Gen.G that we've gotten used to. As Lehends, he interrupts the buffer. Down will go the Nautilus as now Kingen gets in amongst it. He will be feared down to the GA, most likely. But Kiin, has he lost health yet? Taeyoon's pressing so many buttons, so aggressively trying to play the game, and Kiin is walking towards him. We've got Sponge now ulting in, thinking that he has an angle, but that is 1, 2, 3, 4, dead Nocturne. And there is finally their attention turned towards this Yunara triple kill for Ruler, who doesn't have the Penta available, so he just lets his teammates kill Kingen, and they're going to waltz into the base and probably win this game.
Yeah, I think Chovy flashing there was definitely just the game is over. We're going to finish it quickly. Baron buff as well to keep the waves alive. They should just be able to push in and end on the back of this. They're even going to TP Kiin in at full HP, and with the mega shield. Think how unkillable he was before.
Yeah.
Now he has his W shield and he has that teleport shield. He's just immortal at this point, and there's no one alive apart from Lehends to even threaten him at this point in time.
And I don't think Lehends is threatening him either, even with the fact that he's alive. I think that might be temporary, as Duro is going to Tempered Fate scout just to delay his exit from the fountain, and the Nexus will be going down. Duro will die for the first time this game right before the enemy Nexus, as the curtain call named quite beautifully, as they will finish off the game. Gen.G looking like a bit of a return to form against Nongshim here in game number 1.
This felt like more the Gen.G we expect to see. I feel like there were so many situations where they're setting up these proactive plays,